Every day, a small crowd of people will gather at his doorstep just to watch him at work. Joe was famous as a blacksmith, but he was very humble. He happily accepted whatever he earned during the day. He lived with his wife and one son. They all loved each other a lot. Joe lived a beautiful life. He was always busy with his work. One day, when he was busy making horseshoes, a messenger from the king's court came to see him. Joe was surprised to see the messenger at his doorstep, but he was also happy because the king's messenger had come to his shop. The messenger always brought a message from the king. Joe asked the messenger to sit down in the shop and asked, "Dear messenger, please tell me, what message have you brought?" The messenger said, "There is a pleasant message for you, blacksmith. His Majesty says you are to come and see him at once. He has work for you to do. If you do this work well, you will be well rewarded." Joe was delighted to hear he would be working for the king. He said, "Dear messenger, I will reach the palace in an hour. Let me go home and wear my best clothes. Come soon. His Majesty does not wait for people," said the messenger. And he walked away from the shop. At once, Joe rushed to his house to wear his most beautiful clothes. He told the pleasant news to his wife and son. They were delighted to hear it. Without wasting any time, he put on his best robe and hurried off to the palace. Wondering what the king wanted him to do, he met many of his friends on his way. To all of them, he shouted happily, "The king has sent for me. He has work for me to do. Wish me luck." All of them were fond of Joe and felt happy for him. Soon, Joe reached the palace, and he was shown into a little room by the gate. He waited for some time until the king's servants came to greet him, and then he was taken into the inner courtyard. There sat the king on his royal seat, wearing royal clothes and a magnificent crown on his head. The blacksmith bowed low to the ground. When he rose, the king said, "I have sent for you, the most skillful blacksmith in the whole kingdom, because I have very special work to give you." Joe bowed again before the king. The king clapped his hands, and many servants came into the inner courtyard carrying iron pieces of different size and shapes. The king said to Joe, "Joe, this will be the real tax for your talent. You are to take this metal and change it into a man." Joe was stunned to hear the words of the king. The king continued, "The man should be a living man of iron, who can walk, talk, and think, and who can see and hear like us." Joe did not know what to say. He looked at the king's face to see whether this was a joke, but the king's dark eyes showed that he was very serious. The king added, "If you are able to do this work, you will be awarded 1,000 gold coins. However, if you fail to do it, you will be put to death at once." Joe knew very well that the king had the power of life and death over his subjects. He knew that if anyone failed to carry out an order of the king, he will be put to death at once. Joe was very afraid, but he did not show it. He said, "Yes." He said, "Yes, Your Majesty." He bowed once more, and the king's servants helped the blacksmith carry the iron pieces back to his shop. As he walked on, many people greeted him, but Joe did not respond. As he was lost in thought, everyone wondering what was wrong with the good blacksmith. When he reached his shop, he could not work the whole day. When he told people what the king had ordered, they too fell silent. No one could say anything against the king, nor show Joe what to do. He went home in the evening and told his wife all that had happened in the king's palace. His wife was very clever and wise. She said, "Do not worry. We will think of something that will help you." But Joe thought no one could help him. He thought he will die in a few days.
Teacher assistant, could you please draw a little bit closer to her so that she could speak into the microphone, because sometimes it just goes off from the microphone. All right, so let's go.
He could not sleep the whole night. He thought a lot about the tax, but there was no way he could make a living man from iron. The next day, in his shop, he sat with his head on his hands, wondering how to satisfy the king. Many people came to him and made suggestions, but they were not good enough.